Mute my computer would be a good idea. Stop.
Hey everybody. Sorry, words have power. Hey everyone. So thank you for joining us. This is my guest, Words Have Power. Her name is Shelly. She has a channel that I did link in my
Hold on one
description.
second. Okay, I can hear you.
Sorry. I know you were just streaming, so we're kind of like rushing around here. So sorry about that. Yeah, this is Words Have Power. Her name is Shelly. A lot of you already know her. She has her own channel. I linked it in the description. You can go subscribe whenever. She goes. You stream almost every day, right, Shelly?
I usually take Monday and Tuesday off. I'm hearing an echo. Are you?
No, not.
It's
I
my
know that
headset.
Chrome echoes for me sometimes. Maybe it's Chrome. If you're using Chrome, maybe switch if you can.
Me.
Yeah, that happens a lot lately on StreamYard. I see in other people's streams.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, it's gone now.
Okay.
Um. Okay, what were we saying? It's been a long day.
I was saying like you stream a lot, almost every day, right?
Yeah, I usually take Mondays and Tuesdays off, but sometimes something will come up and I have to stream.
Yeah.
But
So
yeah,
you put
it's
out
almost
you
every
put out
day.
a good lot of content. It's a good channel to subscribe to. I know that. Why don't you tell the audience real quick what you usually talk about on your streams?
Okay. So I'm an ex law enforcement officer, ex sheriff's deputy. Um, I quit for many reasons. I've worked in private security, helping people build cases against stalkers and learn how to be safe from them. I'm also an ex victims advocate, but I will probably be going back into the field at some point. Um, right now, I'm a stay at home mom, and I figured I might as well use this time to try to help educate people. So that's what I do on my channel. I talk about abuse, stalkers, DV stalking, just all kinds of toxic behavior that people deal with and don't even realize is abuse. And I try to validate that for people. I also try to humanize victims of DV because quite often they are looked at as not even human, victims of violent crime as well. So I try to get people to see victims as being human, not, somehow undeserving of justice, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. So yeah, the reason why I asked you up here today is, I know that you are an ex-victim advocate and you're thinking of going back and you speak about it all the time. I mean, I've been on streams with you and you've spoken about it. So the reason why I asked you up here today is I kind of wanted to like pick your brain a little bit about what the possibilities of somebody claiming to be a victim advocate and they're really not, because this is a very delicate position in which you operate under, right? I mean, a victim advocate, I would think, needs to be trained and educated in a bunch of different areas, correct? Hello? Hello? Oh, your sound is off. You muted yourself. Your mic is off. There you
Sorry,
go.
my computer was being weird. It's
It's
been
okay.
happening.
It's all right. Okay, so you probably didn't hear me then. My question to you was, let me rewind a little. I'm actually glad that you didn't hear me because I want to reword my question. So I have been following this character from the Cash Gurning case. Are you familiar with the Cash Gurning case, the little boy who was taken from his crib and killed? It's a horrible story, but that's not really why we're here. That's not the real reason. There is a man who attached himself to this case, okay? And he woke up one day last week or the week before, and he just decided that today I'm going to be a victim advocate. And he has made some very shady decisions. And I'm actually glad you don't know who Benny is. His name is Blood Money Benny Keyz on YouTube. Okay, I did make a small video about him last week. And basically he just woke up and today I'm a victim advocate, and he's done some very questionable things along the way in his 1 week tenure of being a victim advocate. And I just wanted to kind of like pick your brain a little bit about the dangers that could come along with somebody like him who are looking for a way to kind of like make some cash, because Shelly, get this, Not only did he self-proclaim himself with no formal education, no experience whatsoever, but now he's offering classes on his channel under his membership only, of course, because it's going to make a buck. So what do you think of that?
What?
Yeah, this is real life. Yeah. 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 I know. Where do you start, right? I'm actually glad you don't know who he is, so you can't be like, oh, you're just a Benny hater, you know? Because that's what a lot of his fans say. You're just a Benny hater. Like, no, this is a serious job position that not just any Tom, Dick, and Harry off the street can do, you know?
No.
Yeah. So,
No.
with that being said, yeah, he's offering classes. He's not educated, but he's going to offer classes. So,
Based on what? What?
he's going to have first. He's going to have a vocabulary lesson. Okay. Listen, this is wild. Like, so wild. So, can you like think of a million reasons right now of why that's a bad idea?
That is. Look.
You look terrified.
Oh
You should be. Yeah. Yeah. A few of
I
us
think
in this.
I'm having a moment of cognitive dissonance or something.
Yeah, I think yeah. And not only that, there are people willing to, you know, sign up for this clown college course where he
No.
Yeah.
No.
So the reason why I'm
Please.
bringing you on is to like let these people know that this is not, you don't just wake up one day and just become a victim advocate. Like, no, you know?
I threw away, if that's the case, I threw away like 6 years of my life.
Yeah, because victim advocates usually have bachelor's degrees at least, correct?
Yes. Now, in different jurisdictions, things can be slightly different, but typically you need to have either a bachelor's and or it could even be a master's.
Yeah, you would think. Yeah, sure. Do what you gotta do. So I know a lot of you in the chat have probably saw the Masshole Report last night, or we spoke a little bit in depth about Benny Keyz, and yeah. And I'm just concerned. I just don't think that this person, who is a felon, by the way, a felon, should be, you know, yeah, Shelly, do what you gotta do with your daughter, but he's a felon with no formal training. This is terrifying in my book. Yep, yep. Oh, you watched it, Selfie Queen? Good. Good. Yeah, that's my friend Kate from Masshole Report. For those of you who don't know and didn't see it, go check out Masshole Report. It's where I got my start on YouTube. We used to cover First Amendment auditors. And what happened was Kate's really passionate about First Amendment auditors. They are 9 times out of 10 just horrible people, kind of like, you know, Benny Keyz here, looking to annoy law enforcement and government officials with their camera phones because it's in their constitutional rights to aggravate people, and talk about how they have, you know, how they have the right to do that. So I got involved in that with Kate on Masshole Report. Kate is actually my friend in real life, not just online. We hang out in real life, and she kind of showed me the ropes of YouTube a little bit. And you know, the First Amendment auditing world was never really my thing. So I kind of like branched off and started doing this, and you know, I still consider myself a Masshole Report member, but I'm not there as often. But if you guys don't know what First Amendment auditing is, it's a lot of interesting people in that area of YouTube. You can get lost down that rabbit hole, that's for sure. But Vlad Impaler knows. I know you know. Also, when do you need to get a college diploma to be an advocate? Okay, surviving life. I saw that question briefly. I didn't catch the rest of it. But even if you go to Google and type in, what do you need to become a victim advocate? It'll tell you 9 times. It'll say most victim advocates have a bachelor's degree at the very least. You know, it's not something. Oh, Shelly, there you go. Your mic's on. Yeah. So you cannot. Shelly, can you wake up one day and just say, today I'm a victim advocate? Can you do that?
Okay, there are people who will say victims advocate when they really mean victims ally. Like they're an ally for victims, right?
Okay.
So they're misusing the words, and that's really kind of irritating because yes, I had to go through so many hoops. I have 2 degrees. I went through all kinds of training. It was time consuming, And you cannot be a felon and be a victim's advocate.
In any state, not even Texas?
No, not that I'm aware of. I
Yeah,
have
I doubt
never
it.
heard of that. I've never heard
Yeah.
of that. I have no criminal background. I've
I didn't
never
think so.
heard. And so if he's how what I'm trying not to cuss.
Yeah. So he's a
He has
felon
no
and
training. He has no training, and he's going to set up workshops.
yes, member only workshops on YouTube. He's going to have vocabulary courses and he's going to teach everybody how to be a victim advocate. You do not get he made this clear, you do not get a certification at the end of the course. What you get is just clown extravaganza explanation of what it's like to be a victim advocate. And what I find really interesting about this person, for example, what I find really interesting about him is, for example, this is just how much he doesn't know. Okay, so the other day he asked his victim. Okay, this is his first client, his first victim. Okay, but she's really not a victim, but that's a whole nother story. Okay, she's more like she's not a victim in my eyes anyways, but he asked her to make a video for the World Wide Web, in which she got torn apart on. I mean, the lady, first of all, the lady's been torn apart by everybody throughout this, since the tragedy happened, for good reason usually. And he asked her to make a video so he could put on his channel, right? And then she got torn apart as usual, which he knew that was going to happen. I mean, let's be honest. And then he turned around 2 days later and was like, if you're a victim of a crime, which he considers her a victim of a crime, if you're a victim of a crime, you shouldn't be coming online. Don't go online. It's like, buddy, you just coaxed her online to make a video for your channel. Like, this is what we're talking. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh Lord.
So,
Okay,
can you think of anything? Can you think of why this would be a good? What could happen with somebody like this Benny guy going into this field blindly? What are some things that could happen that would be bad?
he's not going into a field. He's not going into the field. He is not going into the field. He sounds like, to me, in my opinion, allegedly, he sounds like a con artist.
He does.
Who could harm people who are victims. My cat agrees with me.
Yeah, your cat's like, no, no.
Look, this would be
I
just
think
as
your
bad
cat
as
knows
going,
Benny.
right? This could be just as bad as going to KJ and sharing your traumatic experience.
I know, right?
Don't do
Really?
it. Just don't do
No.
it. So if he's,
Yep.
if
I know, it's a lot. It's a lot.
At the workshops that I went to, at the end, you got a document certification. There's typically like a national board, if you will, right? There are different varieties of them. It's like an accreditation, right? It's not just
Right.
some jackass, excuse my language. That's not how it works.
It's not how this works. That's not how any of this works.
No. Yes, there is vocabulary that goes along with learning the different types of abuse and the trauma that comes from that. And
I know, it's a lot. It's a lot, and it's dangerous. Okay, his first victim. I'm sorry. His first victim, like I said, isn't really a victim. But my fear is that going forward, he'll get more victims. And the thing is, okay, here's the thing. He is obviously doing it to try to financially gain from the situation. He has already been asking for donations on behalf of this victim, and he wants to have these classes, and he needs donations so he can be a successful victim advocate. So in the future, my fear is that he'll convince some poor soul into, letting him lead the way, like the blind leading the blind over here, and that will end really badly, because victims are already in a very vulnerable state, okay? No matter what kind they are. Victims are vulnerable people. He is a predator, okay? He has a history being a manipulator. I haven't even told you about his past. Like, he there's so much. There's just so much to it, right? He has a reputation of just being a con artist thus far. He has not taken care of his 5 children. He has, I mean, the list goes on. If you were to search his name, there is a guy named A Balance who has covered him extensively. Masshole Report has. He basically, last year, or about 6 months ago, actually, he considered himself a predator poacher.
What? Say it again. What?
A pedo poacher. Okay. In other words, he was trying to catch, the pedos out there. So he's got a pretty extensive, list of things he's done, or things he's called himself. And he's not, the people that are following him and actually supporting this and paying these things, they're not realizing that, like, not just anybody can just do this. You don't just call yourself a pedo poacher one day. You don't wake up and be a victim advocate. Like, these people are vulnerable. And from what I understand from people in his real life, okay, this is not just online gossip. People in his real life have spoken out about what a horrible human being he is. So I just wanted to talk to a real victim advocate to see your thought process on all of this. What is the least amount of training you could have to be one? Is there like a certificate? Is there some kind of certification course that really exists for this? There's a million things involved, though. I mean, Shelly, even for me, when I worked at a mental institution, I had to take courses in like crisis management and things like that, like in order just to work there, He's an independent contractor victim advocate, I guess. I don't know.
There's no such thing. There is no such thing.
Right.
No.
Thank you. Yeah.
I'm really trying not to cuss. Okay, look. If you want to be a victim's advocate, there are ways that you can volunteer. That's how I started. I volunteered. But then in order to be hired to do this work, right? And by volunteered, I mean I helped clean the building. I wasn't interacting with.
You got to get your foot in the door, yeah.
Right. I learned what I needed to do to get into the field. Now, there was a break where I was in the sheriff's department, and that work experience kind of helped me with getting into the victim's advocacy. You have to have college education. For me, I had to have references from family and friends. The criminal background check was extensive. It was not local, it was national. And then the training, it was a lot. It was more intense than college, way more.
I bet it was, because, victims, like I keep saying, are vulnerable people. Yeah, so my fear is that the damage that he could do. Also, it was interesting what you said at the beginning of the stream. People like him are, mistaking this for maybe a victim ally. Because what he's done for this lady, okay? This is what he's done for her. He bought her a Little Caesars pizza, but he couldn't pay for it, okay?
Then he didn't buy it for her. So who bought it?
His friend that was on the stream with him, because his card wouldn't work. It's just like one thing after another. So put it this way, for all those of you who missed it, Benny knocked on her door, the victim's door, okay, which, again, she's really not a victim. I think it's like his ex-girlfriend, or maybe they're drug buddies. I'm not sure. I can't say for sure how. I just feel like they know each other outside of this whole tragedy that took place with a little boy, okay? He knocked on her door one day. He said, "Hey, I hope you're doing all right. I'm a victim advocate." No, he didn't say it at that point yet. He was just like, "Is there anything you guys need? You guys want some pizza?" And her family were like, "Yeah, sure, we'll take pizza. I mean, who doesn't want pizza, right?" I mean, so he
does that? He just walked
listen. Listen. So he's live streaming this. Him and a channel called No Thanks Investigates. They've since parted ways, okay? But at the time, this was 2 weeks ago or so, he knocked on her door. He goes, "Okay, I'm going to get the pizza." So he streams himself all the way to Little Caesars, right? He orders 4 pizzas. The lady goes to tell him how much it is. He swipes his card. It doesn't work, right? Now, he starts the whole, oh, I don't know why my card doesn't work. I think the strip's worn out. Spend 40. I've had it for a long time. Da, 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 da. So of course the nice people in the stream, right, are like, oh, let me donate. So they start donating, right? Very convenient. Now the man who's running the stream, Doug, right, who's just like a nice dude. He doesn't, whatever. He's broken up with Benny, for lack of a better word. But at the time he was like, I'll pay for it. Now here's the thing. Benny's card wouldn't slide, right? But when you go to a website to place an order or an app, you don't need to slide your card. You just put the numbers in, right? But why couldn't he do that? Exactly. So he
Because
gets
it's a
his buddy
con.
Exactly. So he gets his buddy to pay for it, right? I'll get you back, bro, I'll get you back. Never gets him back to this day. Still hasn't paid him back. I mean, I could sit here all night and tell you stories just like this, but he's convinced the girl to go online, even though she's like very well hated right now, and a lot of people blame her in part for the tragedy that took place. In the video, she literally says, "Hi, Benny. I know you've been wanting me to do this. I blah blah blah." And then he goes on 2 days later to be like, "If you're a victim, don't live stream." I mean, it's a hot mess, girl, a hot mess. And the things that could. Do you know any like stories of like victim advocates who really really messed up and how it affected the actual victim, like, or anything like that? I mean, what could go wrong in a circumstance like this? Anything, right?
Okay, so there was a question asked about if you have to have like drug tests to be. Yes, you do.
Oh, okay. You can't be a felon for one. I mean, that's a given. But even if he wasn't a felon, he would have to drug screen. And I'm gonna go ahead and assume he's under the influence. I don't know that for sure, but it appears to me that he is. That's my opinion.
Well, I haven't even seen this guy, so I don't know, except for the picture on your thumbnail. But so for me, they did like a square inch of hair, which turns out that's a lot of hair.
They actually tested your hair. Wow.
Yeah, hair, blood, and urine for me. Yeah, I don't know if it's like that everywhere, but that's how it was for me.
I mean, I would hope so. Like I said, this is a delicate position. It's not for anybody off the street, and so many things could go wrong during this, and it's terrifying.
So, on that note, what can go wrong? If some random idiot off the streets just decides they're a victim's advocate and they're going to try to do the job of a victim's advocate when they have no idea what they're doing, and it's just a con, is what it sounds like to me. You have people who will have violent abusers who may want to severely harm that victim and anyone around that victim. So if it's a female victim, if it's a woman victim, right? And some random man comes up, well, then you can have an outburst of jealous rage, and that can lead to.
Oh, so just him being a man and her being a woman alone could be it. Oh my! I don't even think of that. This is why I'm having this conversation with you. In this particular circumstance, it's not a domestic thing. It's more like her household was involved in a murder of a young child. So even still, the victim advocate board for I don't know the lingo, but maybe I'll take his vocabulary class, maybe not, but maybe. So even in a circumstance like that where it's not domestic, that would still be like frowned upon, yeah?
It could be. I don't know what the I don't know any of the background here. I'm just going to say that. Yeah. Okay, so there are a bunch of different ways that things can go sideways. It just look. If you're a lazy donkey, I'm trying not to cuss.
I don't care if you do.
Oh, okay. If you're a lazy asshole and you just want to wake up and one day say that you're a victim's advocate and not do the work to actually be one, then just shut the fuck up and find something else to con people with, because you could cause harm in so many different ways. My brain hurts and I don't even know where to start. I started with the one thing. It's the first thing that comes to mind.
Right. Oh, he showed his audience her home too.
Oh,
Okay,
that's great. And
we
stop
all
please.
kind of knew it already, but you figure that would be a big no-no. You know, he has personally communicated with her via DM and told the world what they talk about, which I'm sure is not a good idea either. Because it's a pretty confidential thing, you would think, right? Whether it's domestic or not.
Yeah, look, I don't even know what jurisdiction he's in, but this could be criminal charges.
I
I don't know
thought
if he
so.
realizes that. That's a serious, this is
Yeah.
not a joke, what
Right.
he's doing. So, I mean, if he wants to go to, and look, I'm just gonna say this. He may think that it's just an easy mark. It's an easy way for him to make money. Whatever. I would suggest find something else to con people with,
Yeah.
because this is not going to end well.
Right. For anybody.
Other victims advocates are going to figure out what he's doing, and they're going to come for him. I guarantee you that I don't know. I don't know
I
where
know you
he
don't know the
is.
specifics. You're looking at this from the outside looking in. I understand that, but like, yeah, I would think that that wouldn't be okay with people who really do take this serious in his area, right? And it's funny that you mentioned, like, the possibility of charges, because now you mentioned something about it being like there's like a national, or what's the word I'm looking for? There is like
There.
a national, like, center for like victim advocacy or something like it.
Mhm.
I'm
Yeah.
wondering what they would think of it, like, so this can't be legal. I mean, I would think it would not be. I would
Can you
think
do me
so.
a Can you do me a favor and send his information
No
on
problem.
Discord?
No problem. And I don't think you're the first one, and definitely won't be the last one to be, you know, um, concerned about this, because he's even. This is just to give you an example. He's publicly stated in the past too that he is an informant. Okay, he's an informant, which why you would tell the world on YouTube you're an informant for the Dallas Police Department, I don't know, because I can't see why that would be beneficial either. But so my friend Kate, like, called the Dallas police and was like, "You have this guy out here, saying X, Y, and Z. Have you ever heard of him?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, we've heard of him, but not for good reasons." Basically, is what they told her. So he's already known for stirring trouble. He has a criminal past. I mean, the list goes on. So I would think that the Victims Advocate Association, or whatever it's called, would frown upon this. And if he were to
Well,
do it,
here's
maybe he'd call himself an ally.
one thing that I think should happen is that people who impersonate victims advocates, that should be a criminal charge. Now, I don't know if it is anywhere at the moment. I'm kind of out of the loop with things like that. I'll have to look it up and see if there's any criminal code on that. I don't know what jurisdiction he's in, but usually law enforcement will take that very seriously when someone's presenting themselves as a victim's advocate or something like that, or like a
Oh,
first
really?
responder or whatever, because it can be so dangerous. Domestic violence is one of the most dangerous calls law enforcement can go on.
Yep.
It's right up there. So this is, if he's being all lackadaisical about this, he really needs to rethink things. First, second, do you know what his criminal history is in relation to? Like, what charges did he have and all that?
He slammed his wife's head on the floor. He's been
That's
arrested for
domestic violence.
methamphetamine. He stole his friend's device and pawned it. So yeah, we have theft, domestic violence, drugs, and I'm pretty sure there's other stuff that I just can't think of right now. That's just what I can think of. So yeah, there's that.
So
But he's
I
in
saw something
Dallas.
about
Yeah.
stolen valor.
No,
Oh,
he's
well,
in
he's just an all
Dallas.
around
Stolen
Dallas.
Valor. I didn't know about that. I said
Yeah.
Dallas, but why? Did somebody say Stolen Valor in the comments? I didn't see it.
Whispers softly said stolen valor.
Oh my
Well, he's just an
god.
all around scumbag then.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then there's new reports coming out. I don't know how true they are yet of him taking advantage of children and just all kinds of stuff. But a lot of it's coming from his ex-wife, which she seems really reliable. I mean, she shows her face and her name, which gives credibility to things she's saying. But my friend Kate is actually checking out, like, you know, the validity behind it for obvious reasons. Those are serious accusations. She wants to make sure that they're legit before, you know, anybody runs with it. But yeah, so he's not a trustworthy person. If he's gonna steal his friend's BlackBerry or whatever it was, and then run to the pawn store and pawn it for $100, get caught. If he's gonna slam his wife's head on the floor, smoke methamphetamine. I mean, and the thing is too, like, everybody has like a past they're not proud of, but his present seems kind of fucked up. So I can't see this going anywhere, and I think it's absolutely terrifying that this person is out there offering a lending hand to people who, you know, probably don't need his help. But
look,
reach out to me. I'd like to help. Okay.
Part of the reason that I could show you my certifications, but it would dox me, like all of my.
Yeah, don't do that. Yeah, don't do that. There's an ongoing joke from another channel who like made a fake certification, like oh, like I forget what it said. It was like, this is the certification you get, and it was like a clown thing. I don't even know, but yeah, so a lot of channels have been commenting on it, and I'm like, oh my god, I know a real victim advocate. I should just talk to her, see what she thinks about it. But it's scary. Oh, and there are children involved too. Like, if he's taking on this woman, right? He's essentially, you know, it's like a family thing that's happening. It's not just her, it's the people that live there too, and she has children. So now when you're in a victim advocate situation like that, do you just help the one person, or is it like a family thing, do you know, or it depends on the jurisdiction?
Okay, so I did not work with children. I have very strict boundaries. When it comes to children, I can't handle. I don't watch content where children are talked about being harmed and things like that, and I don't have that on my content because I just can't. It makes me like really angry. Like I have no control over myself.
Rightfully so. Yeah.
Right. So
that's why I'm angry at this guy. That's why. Like, there's a child that got hurt. You know, like brutally.
He should not be involved in that. No, if there's a child involved, he should not be involved in that at all. I worked with grown women. Now in the sheriff's department, I would have to help witnesses who were minors at times when they were witnesses for a court proceeding, and that was hard. But with the victims advocacy, no, I did not work with children. Children have their own victims advocacy groups that help them. Also, CPS, you know, child services and whatnot. That's not the field I worked in. Mandy Pants worked in that field. She would be better.
Oh, okay. Amanda Pants did? Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, that's part of the reason I like her, is because she will help educate people on child services at times.
Right. Right. Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. I did know that. I thought she just I didn't know she was like an advocate. I thought maybe it's all the same. I just thought she worked for DCF, but I guess you are an advocate if you work there, right? Well, same thing.
With advocates, I don't know how it is for CPS, but with advocates, I can only speak from my experience. I would go to the hospital with victims during their exams and all of that, and then I might have to go to court proceedings, which, working in the sheriff's department, that's why that all like worked together well. Right. If there are children involved and he's jumping in there, man, this can go really bad, real bad.
Right. He also said, yeah, he should not be. He also said something along the lines of, because a lot of people are blaming the woman he's advocating for in part for what happened, and there's even question like about how much she knew and things like that, especially in the beginning. There was a lot of talk surrounding that, and he said at one point, like, if it comes out that she had anything to do with it, then I'll just stop advocating for her. Like, isn't a victim advocate someone who is there from beginning to end usually?
I'm still friendly with some of the victims I worked for. I still speak with them on occasion. It's not this.
Do you cut the relationship off if you find that they're actually not a victim?
Usually no. Usually you try to be detached. It's not really so much a friendship. It's just, how is the case going? there are a couple of cases that, you know, with the group that I worked for and whatnot, I need to know if I ever have to appear in court. That could happen. It's important. So it's not a friendship type thing. You're not supposed to involve yourself in that victim's life on that level. You're supposed to be kind of the person who sees all of the material, all of the information, and helps police to understand. And
You lead the
you're
way.
not supposed to jump
Through
in and
the
try to make money off of it. You're not supposed to use it as a con. This is
No, you shouldn't be
offensive.
collecting donations on behalf of the person to help send them on
No,
vacation or buy them
no.
food or anything like that, right? So as far as I have to ask these questions, like I
Same
know it's
here.
laughable, it is, but you and I are normal people and we can see that, but some people are not, and they need to be reminded that like this is not okay.
Same here.
This is not okay.
Have you shared the victims' rights thing? And the, oh my God,
I know
man.
you want to flip your desk over, don't you? Like, don't you?
Dude, there are, if you're a victim of SA and or R and or DV, there are resources out there for you called the National Domestic Violence Hotline and RAIN. They can help you. This guy's a jackass. Stay the fuck away from him. And there are also usually monetary funds that you can access. There are grants. There are resources that you can get help in
So
whatever
you don't need
jurisdiction.
some dude named Blood Money Benny Keyz starting up a GoFundMe or anything, like that's not a good idea, Shelly.
What in the fuck?
Listen, while you laugh, I just want to say, because Leanne Ferguson just asked me like, what's his channel? The last thing I want is like people to run and scurry to his channel, like even
He's
if you're
done.
gonna point, because listen, he's really trying hard to like grab some attention and like just milk the teat of this investigation. So I mean, his name is Blood Money Benny Keyz. I prefer you don't go there. If you do, please don't sign up for his course or membership. Please, for the love of God. And if you do go there, just try to like let these sucker people know that they should stay sucker free and just not have anything good. Anyways, he's been advising his followers to mass flag videos like myself and Molly Golightly and anybody
Well,
that
he's
doesn't
gonna
agree with
eat
him.
my ass then. Come for
Yeah.
me, dude. I'm a victim's
Oh.
advocate, a real victim's advocate. You would have better luck going to your neighborhood watch group. They probably have better like
Oh, he's
training
doing
and
that too. I'm sorry. He's doing that too. He's gonna gather up sticks and bats and go and patrol the neighborhood, because let me tell you something. In Dallas, Texas, they have a problem right now because of the whole defund the police movement, right? Which I don't really want to talk about. Because of that, they have a shortage of officers. So the person who hurt this little boy was able to run amok in this neighborhood, and it took the police about 30 minutes before they got there because they're so short staffed and they can't do overtime anymore, yada yada. So he wants to patrol the neighborhood with his homies and just kind of like take care of business. So that's not going to end well either, because that's not how this works either. And it's terrifying. It is. And people out there think it's a good idea, and it's just not. Oh, you're on mute, by the way. I don't know if you know that. You're on mute.
so he's a felon.
Yeah.
But he's gonna come save the day.
Yep.
He has a history of meth, substance abuse,
Yep.
and domestic violence, but he's gonna save the day as a victim's advocate. If you're a fucking abuser, you have no right calling yourself a victim's advocate. And as someone who has worked in that field, you can go suck a bag of dicks and jump off a very tall cliff. Yep. That is messed up.
Yep, it certainly is. And not only that, let me tell you another little story here. Back to the Masshole Report, my friend Kate, who's my friend in real life, she was tormented years ago by a man named Stephen Young. He's in the papers. He couldn't be taken down with tasers. He's a monster, okay? And everyone around here knows he's a monster. He tortured this poor woman, okay? Because of her being so screwed up from that abuse, she had some issues where her home was a little unkept because she couldn't even take care of herself, and then she had her kids taken. Anyways, since then she's got her life on track. I have watched her evolve into like a really good mom. A really now that this guy's out of her life, like it was a rough patch. She's gotten to be an amazing person. She's moved on from him. He was the crux of her problems. To make a long story short, Benny knows this, okay? He knows that she's a victim. He knows that, because everybody that follows Kate kind of knows that story because she gets a lot of hate for that. So, our past follows us whether we want it to or not. It's just the way life goes. So he doesn't like Kate for the same reason he's probably going to end up hating me, because she speaks out against him, and she has for a long time. I didn't even know it until last week, okay? Because she covers so many crazy people that I can't even keep up. So let me tell you what I saw with my own eyes the other night. I saw him say to her, "Oh, where's your kids?" Ha ha ha. He called her a fat cow. He called her, I mean, you name it, he did it. Now, he knows she's a victim, and he's a victim advocate, okay? This is the person that we're dealing with, all right? So, yeah, there's that. So, he's a wonderful, wonderful person.
No.
Yeah. She don't care, but I do. Because, like, she's my friend, and she's... Yeah.
He sounds like he is just your typical abusive guy, sexist, misogynistic, all the rest. He's not a white knight. He's not going to come and save the damn day. He's not going to save your neighborhood. If anything, he might pillage your neighborhood. So do you want a real neighborhood watch, or do you want some jackass?
I'd rather see him be neighborhood watch than a victim advocate if he had to choose one, but, he's got,
yes.
I don't know. He's just a scammer. He's a scammer at the end of the day. That's really all it is. He's trying, like I said, he's taking this and he's running with it. And it's just scary, but, yeah. Oh, you like Kate? Recommend... Oh, Libby, you knew that? You know Kate? Cool. So you're like, wait, what Kate? See, if that little story right there jogged your memory, didn't it? Because people throw it in her face all of the time. And it stinks, man. I mean, if somebody was a piece of crap today, like Benny is, I could see somebody doing that, but she's evolved as a human, and her children love her because I've seen it with my own eyes, because I've been to her house and watched her be a mom, and every day somebody has to bring up her past, and it's sickening, but, yeah.
People who go through domestic violence often go through fairly serious depression, so it can be hard to get up and clean and all of that and keep your life straight.
She admits that, yeah.
Yeah, so people judging, I don't even know this person, I can already tell you she probably needs, if she hasn't been in therapy, then she needs to learn the tools to handle the PTSD, the depression, all of that comes with it. Her having her children taken away doesn't...
Right.
Huh?
Yeah, she's been through a lot. She's done a lot of work on herself. Like I said, she's basically overcome it at this point. It was like, I think, more than 10 years ago now. But, yeah, I mean, just from being so... physically, emotionally abused, like it literally beat her down to nothing. You know what it does to women. And she literally couldn't function. She couldn't get out of bed. She could barely like get out to feed her kids. So, anyways, when everything kind of came to a head and it ended up being in the paper, and like she really realized this person wasn't going to change, she got rid of him, but she needed to fix herself. So in the interim, she gave 2 of her children up for adoption. And people are just like, you're a loser mother, you're a piece of crap, you're a deadbeat, but they don't realize how selfless you have to be to give your children and go, hey, I can't take care of you right now, like, I need to get myself situated, yada yada. So anyone out there who knows, Masshole Keyz and doesn't know the story, you could just be quiet.
Right. She was being, if she did that, then she was being a good mother by saying, I need to fix myself so that I can take better care of my children. That shouldn't, and if it's 10 years ago, Jesus Christ, man, people grow. This is what I mean by women are often judged way too damn harsh. And if you're a mom, that mom shaming is intense.
She can't, people can't, for example, people like Benny, now she'll call Benny out, question him on his motives, and he'll throw that in her face. You know what I mean? That's what a real victim advocate would do, though, right? Yeah, okay.
No, that's an abuse tactic. That's an abuse tactic. That's deflection and projection.
people do it to her every time they disagree with whatever her viewpoint is, and it's sad to see. She's so used to it that like she doesn't even make a big deal out of it, but like as from at the outside looking in, as like her friend, who's someone who knows her in real life, to watch her go through that day in and day out on her YouTube channel is like extremely disheartening, and it really affects me. And when Benny ever did that, I was like, that's it. Like, you are 10 times worse than I ever thought you were. And you know me. I'll give people a chance to lie. Chances to people I shouldn't give chances to. But this guy, no. I'm scared of what he's gonna do next and who's gonna be his next victim.
One thing to consider with this, and it's really important that people think about this, he might be looking, and he probably is looking, for new victims that he can harm and like maybe get into a relationship with. If he's being friendly with victims this way, victims, whatever, then he's probably looking for new targeted victims that he can data mine and get into a situation, get his hooks in.
Yep.
Then the abuse begins, and then he can potentially use that victim as a tool to make money. This guy.
You're absolutely right, and that's something that we didn't talk about last night either, because there's so much to cover with him. But to make a long story short, he's going to be having. He claims he has a Chiari malformation level 3. I don't really know much about that. He doesn't work. A Chiari malformation, it's like when your brain is like outside of the skull or something. I don't know too much about it. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I do, but it's a disability, I guess. And he can't work because of that reason, yada yada. So my fear, and he keeps bringing it up to his audience, like, oh, soon I'm going to be getting brain surgery. Now, mind you, he's just built an audience basically basically from the little boy Cash Vernon, which is basically, I'll just say it. A lot of us moms out there who are middle aged are the group of people who have attached themselves to this case. Okay, in droves, there are so many of us who are just so interested in this case. And my fear is that, like you said, he's gonna build up his little base of more people so he can pour the whole, oh, I'm gonna have my brain surgery soon, here's my GoFundMe. Like, I could totally see him doing that. And there's a lot of nice people out there who just don't know any better.
Well, here's the thing to consider. Most felons have a hard time finding jobs after they get out of prison. So is it a brain problem? Could be. Probably isn't, though. It sounds like he has an extensive history of conning people. So where's the documentation that he has some sort of, medical issue? If there's no documentation, then he's probably just a felon and can't find a job.
Yeah, he has videos of him being a farmer, though, but he can't work. I mean, none of it makes sense, Shelly. No, just none of it, okay? None of it. And my video, the reason why I brought Shelly on is, like I said, she is a real-life victim advocate who's going back into the field after being a stay-at-home mom. I highly suggest you take her channel, check her channel out. Anybody that clicked on this stream that is interested in Benny Keyz, please know that what he is doing is not normal, okay? Even, let's pretend Benny has the best intentions, okay? Which we know he doesn't, but let's pretend he does, okay? Even if he did...
Look at this comment. He called CPS on his ex-wife who spoke out against him. That is abuse.
Oh my God, Shelly,
you don't even proxy.
You don't even know the half of his ex-wife's story, okay? I mean... It is wild. This manipulation and abuse and whatever you want to call it runs so much deeper every day. Like, everybody's finding out more things. Anybody that has clicked on this video, anybody that is thinking of joining his victim advocacy classes, maybe his vocabulary lesson, whatever it is, don't do it. Even if you think Benny has good intentions, he doesn't have the qualifications or the education or the experience, you name it. He does not have that. Okay, please don't donate to him. All right, I mean, please just know better. Just know better. Do better. Know better. Don't do it, please. That's the main thing I want to get across in this stream.
Can I just say that I've been on this YouTube channel that I've been working on for not quite a year. It's been a while. Please know, I have not offered any workshops, classes, courses, nothing like that. If you want to donate to the PayPal, fine, but that's not I don't expect to receive anything from doing this. What I hope will be the outcome is that people will be educated, better educated, so that they'll be able to better advocate for themselves, right? See the red flags, see, where there are problems. And I hope not even get in that abusive relationship. Understand they can say no, and their no should be respected. So if I have all this training, I have the certifications, the college degrees, the everything, and I'm not doing workshops, classes, and all this and that, don't you think maybe this guy who is doing that with no training might be conning people?
Yep.
What exactly is he going to teach? What is the vocabulary he's going to teach? I'll teach you all that vocabulary for free, baby.
I know
Free.
what he could teach. I know what he could teach people: how to use an antenna off a car for a pipe. Because that's a story that we heard the other night too.
I can't teach anyone that. I don't know how to do that.
No, that I believe he could teach people. Just saying. Yeah. So. Yeah, I mean, does anybody out there have any questions for Shelly as far as victim advocacy goes, or anything like that? Anything they want to say about Benny? Anything? Anybody want to come up and say anything? Now, speak now if I ever hold your peace.
He's been bashing the grandmother of Cash and Carter.
Oh my God! Hold on.
He's not. No, that's
so not. Cash. So Carter is the twin brother that's still alive. Okay, who was in the bed with Cash when Cash could take it and her. I know you don't like this stuff. I'm sorry. So she told him to stop, and her grandson, and he bashed her in his channel. So sad. She lost her grandfather, and he basically victim advocate, right? He attacked the grandmother. Now, whether the grandmother's I think the grandmother's a little sketchy, but hey, I just don't agree with what he's done on many levels. But even if I think the grandmother's sketchy, if I were a victim advocate, I don't think I would become that unprofessional and attack the grandmother. Even if I thought in the back of my head like something's not right with this lady, you kind of have an image to maintain in a common decency of respect and air about you, where you don't just start bashing people that really could be victims. You don't know,
Right. Especially with the family of a minor child, you never know how someone's going to behave when they are grieving, when they've had something like that happen. You never know how they're going to behave. And people don't always behave.
I have to remind myself that a lot.
People don't always behave the same, right? The same way that we think they should. Okay, so I can't even imagine being mean to or going off on a family member of a victim. I can't, no. And then somebody asked, isn't there some legal move to get him to stop impersonating a victim's advocate? I don't know about his jurisdiction. I know here where I am, life would be made very difficult for him. He would hate life.
We're gonna have to look into that. I know, like I said, Kate's working really hard on exposing every facet of this man. I'm going to help her. Her channel's a lot bigger than mine. She has like 15,000 subscribers or something. But that'd be something we have to look into, whether there is criminal, what could be attached to this. I mean, I didn't even think of that really. It's a good point. It really is.
In some jurisdictions, you might as well just sign your soul away. People don't play with that because it's such a serious thing.
Keys to Hell says, how's this? I'm going to go after him. Oh, I just got rid of that comment on the thing. What's the difference between, oh my God, where did it go? Hold on. This girl's been asking this question over and over and I feel bad. Where did it go? I hate how StreamYard, you can't go back to so far. Do you know what I mean? It drives me crazy.
Yeah. I know that I was having that problem. Somebody said that you dropped the link for this in my chat, and I was like, "Well, if it's back so far."
Oh, I know. I'm so stupid. I didn't even think of that. Whoopsie. I don't have you on Discord either. I need to figure that out because I could have just shot it to you there. You started to say, "Oh, okay." That's not the question I was looking for, but while the other person probably retypes it for the 10th time, I'm gonna answer this one. I'm sorry to whoever that was. Oh, even if Benny had the best intentions, let's pretend he's not a bad person, and let's pretend he has the best intentions to help Monica, right? He doesn't have the qualifications, the educational background, the experience. That's what I was going to say about that. Even if we want to believe that he has good intentions, we can't, because even with the best intentions, you don't have the tools. You need tools to deal with this. Like, crisis management consists of having a toolkit like none other. Like, you know that, and I don't think he has tools. I don't think, he is not the sharpest tool in the shed. We know that, but I don't think he has tools.
He could be an ally. Anyone can be an ally. There's a
Okay.
difference. To me, there's a difference, and it's probably because of my work background. There's a difference between an ally and an advocate who's actually doing the work, right? So
Right.
he's not going to the hospital holding a victim's hand, seeing the actual outcome of somebody surviving abuse, and working with law enforcement,
Yeah, you walk them through the
filling
whole
out the
court
documents,
process.
and
It's
there's
constant,
a
like,
lot.
resources and everything like that. Like, you need to have like a whole slew of things, like connections, resources, knowledge in how the court system works. I mean, he might have a little bit of that just from, you know, his dealings,
Well,
but
that's not the right kind. Like for me, I'm thankful that I had drug court and DV court when I was working in the SD, because that actually helps a lot with uh, giving me a fuller understanding of more of the minutia that happens around the legal aspect of things. I don't know if that makes sense, but um, DV court especially really helps. But then understanding the aspect of uh, substance abuse and alcohol abuse and how that affects domestic violence. So if he's got a problem with substance abuse and domestic violence, but now he's trying to be a victim's advocate,
yeah, it should be a red flag,
that's
people, a big red flag.
that's setting up future victims to fail. Because if he establishes himself as a victim's advocate and then victims come forward that he has abused them after that point, people may not believe them.
They're
Setting
gonna
a
be the
victim,
perfect prey for him. Are they not?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Especially if they're just coming out of an abusive relationship and
And
they
they're
haven't had
vulnerable.
a
Yep.
chance to heal. Yeah,
Hmm. Yep.
that's bad.
And then here comes Benny to save the day. He could just walk in, take advantage, and run. And I hope that people see that. If you take nothing else from this stream, know that vet your resources, vet your people, man. Like, nobody can just be that. And like I said, if you're here and you're wondering why I'm doing this stream, that is why. Okay, it's why. Like I said, Benny, even if you have good intentions, you do not have the tools. Please stop calling yourself a victim advocate. Like Shelly said, maybe you're an ally instead. Maybe if you must do something, call yourself that. But I tell you, the rest of us, I know Kate, myself, are gonna be looking into like the legalities behind this, because this is a delicate, position that I don't think you should be in, and that's all I really have to say.
Yeah, no,
But
if you are in a domestic violence situation and this guy approaches you to help you or whatever, he's fluff. He's BS. That's
mhm.
just my opinion. Call the National Domestic Violence Hotline and or RAIN if you need it. They will actually help you. They
Right, I'll
have
put those links.
databases.
Thank you. Yep.
Yeah, they have
Um,
databases of information, local women's shelters, uh, grants and funds that you can get access to, how to get yourself a victim's advocate to help you with law enforcement and all of that. That is what we do. Um, so that you're not there alone,
right.
right? This guy is a jackass from what I am being told so far, and I'm going to look into it. And if look, there are certain lines you should not cross. And is an army of women and men who are victims advocates all over this country who are going to jump down your ass.
Yep. And he's even trying to collect funds for another person connected to the case that's in jail right now, at prison. He wants to make sure he's got his honey buns and his slippers and his whatever. He's just like, money for this, money for that. I'll take money for this and money for that. And it's like, Please don't send
No,
it. Like, he hasn't even paid Doug
don't.
back for the pizza. Like, pay Doug back for the pizza before you start, asking for anything else. Like, he can't even pay his buddy back for some pizza. Like, you think that he's gonna do the right thing with this money? Are you serious right now? Come on,
There's
know
money.
better.
There's a thing called the Victims' Rights Act. If you are the victim of any crime, especially violent crime, SANR, DV, etc., you have rights, and there are resources for you. If you have law enforcement standing there in front of you, say to them, "I want to apply my victims' rights right now, and I need a victim's advocate right
Right.
now." Okay, you have to apply your victim's rights. You have to tell the officer or whatever first responder that you want to apply your victim's rights. Okay, you have the right to do that. If an officer tries to like blow you off or whatever, ask for a different officer.
Yeah.
Keep asking for a victim's advocate or call your local victims advocacy group yourself.
All right, I have one more question. Cause before I forget, I'm sorry, because I'll lose it if I don't ask now. So, when you're a victim advocate, right now, does the court system or law enforcement come to you and say, "Hey, Shelly, we just got this case in. How do you connect? What's the first way
How,
you connect?"
how it worked for me is we had a manager and they would call the manager, but I mean it depends.
The victim would call the manager, or
No, no, no,
law
no, no.
enforcement?
Law enforcement or nurses. See, it all depends.
Okay.
Is the victim going to law enforcement first, who would then call, or are they going into the ER or into a fire department? Or do you see what I'm saying?
Right. It depends
So
on
it
the
depends.
circumstance, right?
In different jurisdictions, law enforcement will have like the card for the victim's advocate and will call that victim's advocate. I had some law enforcement officers who had my card.
Okay. But
Usually
you
they
don't
would
like
go,
watch the news and go knock on someone's door and be like, "Hey, do you need a victim advocate?"
how the,
Are you
no,
sure?
no,
Are you
never did
sure?
that. Nope.
Do you need Little Caesar's pizza? Is there anything I can do?
I mean, if somebody wants to give me a Little Caesar's pizza, I'm not going to
I
say
know, right?
no.
I can't really, the pizza, it's pizza. Who does pizza? I mean, come on, right? Ay, ay,
He's
ay.
he's full of shit. He's
All
full
right.
of feces. Also,
I
please do
really,
not. Anyone out there who sees this, don't send him money. There are resources for victims where they can access funds if they need to. By the way, for anyone out there who's in a DV situation, if you're broke as a spoke because of financial abuse, call the National Domestic Violence Hotline. There are grants and resources out there to help you.
yes. That you don't need Benny Keyz, okay? You can promise. And then also, I'm linking Words Have Power in my description. I already have, actually. And then after the stream, maybe you can help me link some resources, because like what the best ones to use. I'd appreciate that in case anybody out there does need them and doesn't know where to turn and thinks that Benny is their best option. Please know it's not. Yeah, so I really appreciate you coming on with me to help people understand the gravity of what he's doing. Okay, I'm very thankful that you did that with me. Thank you.
Well, I'm actually kind of glad that you asked me to come on here because this is messed up.
Yeah, it's heavy, right?
This is a new one to me. I've never seen anyone do this. I don't even understand what's happening right now.
Yeah, I know. And just to be fair, you really don't. I didn't give you a full rundown. I mean, it was kind of like a last minute thing. So don't come at Shelly for not knowing the situation before going into it, because I was like, look, I just want to ask you some questions about being a victim advocate. So, it was a last minute kind of thing I threw together. But yeah, so go subscribe to her channel, and thanks for coming. I appreciate it. Hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe now, and keep an eye out for, those links in case you need them. All right, guys? Have a good night. Thank you, Shelly. Go
Thank you.
subscribe to Words Have Power. Bye.
Bye.